Welcome to Discover East County, where we walk the path of hardworking folks who share the stories of their lives and businesses. I'm your host, Valerie, and I'm here with Jamie Leonhardi. You are the Director of Superior Abatement Services.
Yes.
Welcome to the show. Thanks for being here.
Thanks so much for having us. We're really excited to be here today.
So we talked a little bit, and I just kind of want to know, what is Superior Abatement Services and what do you guys do?
Sure. So we're actually a hazardous demolition company. And to those who may not understand what that means, we remove asbestos, lead, mold, and we also provide demolition and trauma biohazard services.
Is this something that you, how did you get hooked in here?
Sure. So I actually had a family friend that was working for Superior. I was in college up in Nevada, and, they started reaching out to me. They were looking to add a marketing rep to the company. And from there, it's, been 11 years now that I've worked for the company and worked my way up.
And so you guys are really rooted in East County in San Diego. You have your owners are really active in the community. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. Yeah. So our ownership, they're San Diego born and raised, kind of mid San Diego City, but have been living in East County since I've known them. We've actually been in our Santee office, I think for 12 years now as well. The ownership is past law enforcement for National City PD.
Okay.
And we're really big on, local support of our law enforcement too. I'm actually the wife of a deputy sheriff's.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
out
well.
In El Cajon, right?
He is, yeah. He's out in Rancho San Diego.
Nice.
So we're really passionate about our community and, just trying to provide a service that can keep everyone safe and healthy inside their homes and their businesses.
Okay, so let's touch on that because it is kind of one of those topics that people are afraid of in their home. I know, doing home inspections is something that everybody's cautious of. So tell us, what is asbestos? Why does it even exist? Why do we have it in our homes?
Sure. So asbestos is actually a naturally occurring mineral. So it's mined out of the ground. And it's one of those things that, you find in a lot of building materials, and people don't understand why we put them in building materials now that we know that exposure can be unsafe. So what people don't realize is it's a great insulator. It's super strong. It's a fibrous material. It's non-soluble, and it's fire retardant. So, between the late 50s and the 80s, it was put into, a myriad of building materials and heavily marketed as a miracle mineral. So no one really knew that it made you sick until we started, looking 30, 40 years down the road at the installers of the materials and their families that were getting those adverse health effects we hear lawyers talk about on TV, asbestosis, mesothelioma, any sort of lung type disease. They were able to trace it back to exposures in those groups. So it really is a miracle mineral. And if you have it in your home and it's not disturbed or going to be disturbed, it's actually okay. I tell people we have acoustic ceilings, or the popcorn ceilings that you see in our homes still. And underneath our flooring, we have VCT vinyl floor, which typically contains asbestos. So if it's not affected, it's okay. But we're in the business of affecting it. If you have a flood, if you have a fire, or you're doing a remodel, if you have an older property, there is a high potential you have asbestos or lead. And that's when you need to contact someone like us to handle it properly, to make sure that you're safe in your space and in your building.
So I have a friend that thinks that her home is making her sick because she said that there's materials in the home that are making her feel sick. And I guess the emphasis is people think it's just in the popcorn ceilings. It's everywhere. It could be.
Sure. It potentially can be. I think there's uncommon and common places. Most of the time you think of popcorn ceiling, right? Texture on the wall, drywall mud. A lot of the times that's where you'll see it be. Black glue, which is also called black mastic. Yeah. And then also in different HVAC systems or pipe wrap. And a lot of the times those actually say they contain asbestos. So I think what people really need to remember is, if those materials are being disturbed or going to be disturbed, then you definitely want a professional to handle it. If they're just in your home and they're stable, typically it's okay.
Okay.
And it's okay to leave them there.
So it's kind of like mold in a sense, where if you don't touch it and it's not airborne, typically, sometimes it's not too bad for you.
I think it kind of depends what it is, right? Especially with mold, and we do dabble in that as well. There's companies called CECs, or industrial hygienists, that will actually come out to your property and give you a baseline test. And that test will reveal what type of, if we're talking about mold, type of mold is there. And there's good mold and bad mold in the environment. So they'll give you the baseline of what is in your property and whether you should be concerned or not. And once you have that report, you can contract us to come in, take care of it the right way. Everything's done under containment, which is a big plastic room where we put machines that actually create negative pressure and suck all the walls in of the room we create to make sure that no fibers or air escape.
Oh,
from that
wow.
area.
Okay, so at what point do you guys come in the process? You wouldn't come in when the homeowner is like buying the home, right? Would you come in when they're maybe remodeling or something is found during construction or something like that? Or like you said, like a flood and they find something when in the remodel section of that?
Sure, it kind of depends on the project. So, if we're talking about a real estate transaction, a lot of the times we're brought in almost as a bargaining chip
Okay.
because if the buyer sees popcorn ceiling, they, might want a credit during
Mm-hmm.
that transaction.
Yeah.
Or if it's someone who feels really strongly that they want that removed, sometimes the buyers will say, "Hey, yeah, we'll pay to have it done before the transaction's
Okay.
finished." When it
Yeah.
comes to restoration projects or something where there's a flood or a fire, some sort of property claim or a property loss, then most of the time we're brought in after the property has been stabilized. They
Mm-hmm.
bring a testing company out, they confirm it has asbestos or lead, and then we are the ones that have to complete that demolition.
And you guys don't just work directly with homeowners, you work with companies too. You collaborate and make sure projects are completed safely.
We do. So we work with general contractors, homeowners, property managers, real estate agents, we commercial general
Mm-hmm.
contractors, government work. We have quite a few different spaces that we're in because there are a magnitude of
Mm-hmm.
regulatory compliance requirements and guidelines that have to be followed in not only the county but also the state of California of how to properly remove and dispose of asbestos materials.
Oh, that brings up a good question. So when you're working with a home and so the county gets involved, like how do you guys
Sure.
handle that?
Sure. So some properties in San Diego are actually regulated by the county. APCD is our governing body here.
Mm-hmm.
They're the local arm of the EPA. So only some properties fall under their jurisdiction, but in the case that the property does, we are required to pay them a notification fee, tell them where we are, what we're doing,
Mm-hmm.
and how long we're going to be there, so that they
Yeah.
can pop by and do an inspection.
Great.
Yes. And so their whole goal is to protect the public from potential
Sure.
exposure, which is awesome. I mean, we all want to make sure we're breathing clean, safe air. And when it comes to the county, they regulate properties that they determine are facilities where there's, more population in the area or more potential exposure. So
Mm-hmm.
if you think of like multifamily, commercial, industrial, where you have a lot of people
Mm-hmm.
coming in and out, those are the properties that they regulate. San Diego County doesn't regulate single family homes, but they do if there's a detached ADU.
Got it. Oh,
So,
whoa. Okay.
yeah,
Interesting. And you guys work on commercial buildings, all kinds of businesses and homes, right?
we do. We
Okay.
do. We've done some really unique projects. I mean, we actually took lead panels out of dental offices
Oh, wow.
at one point because in the X-ray rooms they had the lead paneling.
Yep.
We've done the Montecito mudslides, which is in East County, but we did assist on those projects. The plane crash that was in Santee in 2021, we were a
Mm-hmm.
part of that project as well. And then other county projects too. We've assisted the sheriff's department on things. My boss did actually the Del Mar grandstands at one point,
Oh,
San Diego
wow.
State. So we have some really interesting reach just because these products were used in so many different ways.
Well, let's change gears a little bit. And I know that we're talking about how we can give back to East County. What are some ways that you guys have served the county, particularly from the business perspective?
Sure. So, we're always happy to do discounts for our local first responders. As I mentioned before, we're really passionate about that. We're pretty involved in different associations for the sheriff's department and things like that. In regards, we've hosted fundraisers. We volunteer our time to do training for them as well.
Hmm.
Down, my boss is very involved down actually at the tactical range for them
Oh, wow.
too.
Okay.
So we feel really strongly about that. And then also, Santee, they're our local neighbors. So if
Yeah.
your property's in Santee, we always try to be flexible with pricing, make sure that we're providing the right guidance and assistance on, how to do what we do in the right way.
Okay, so if a real estate agent, a company, a homeowner is looking to, reach out to your services, they just need some guidance, maybe the beginning steps of investigation on their property. How can they reach you guys?
Sure, you can call us at 844-583-3278, or you can call me directly at 619-458-1763.
Oh my gosh, Jamie, you are the best. I love this. Thank you so much for being on our show and just introducing us to your company. I'm excited to refer some of my clients out to you. I have one in mind right now that I need to send your way. So thank you so much. You're awesome.
Perfect. Thank you. And please keep us in mind for any asbestos, lead, mold, or demolition needs you have.
Perfect. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching Discover East County, and we will see you next time.